Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Arkariem with Karie Gonia and Mark Edgar Stephens. Every episode, we take a topic, a subject, and we discuss it from the point of view of head, heart, and spirit. Today's topic is peace. But before we dig into the topic of peace, we will introduce ourselves. Karie, can you let everyone know who you are, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Karie Gonia, and I am a facilitator in a therapy called Family Constellation Therapy. I help people clean up ancestral trauma within their lineage.
And I am Mark Edgar Stephens. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I provide personal and professional coaching to individuals, to corporations, and to nonprofit organizations. Together, we are Arkariem, and we will now be asking one another one question, and we will round robin around that. And I think I'm going to start first today, Karie.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Peace. In your opinion, what is the greatest attribute or benefit of peace?
Oh, I love this question, Mark. Peace is my favorite thing. I've had to work to find it. Honestly, going through trauma as a child, I didn't feel peaceful. So I think the greatest attribute for me personally is when I am in peace, I feel really grounded and I feel really connected to myself, to spirit, to earth, to others. I think with peace, like true peace, comes the responsibility of setting boundaries with others around you. But definitely, I think the greatest attribute for me would be feeling grounded and connected. Because when you're peaceful, you're calm.
In that groundedness and that connectedness and in that calm, there's an interesting thing that happens with the mind, and a tool that people can actually use from this is to be able to focus on the thing that makes you feel the most peaceful, whether that is a stream, a waterfall, a person, a memory, a smell, anything it may be, anything that makes you feel peaceful. If you can focus on it on 2 minutes or more, the mind, we think that we are able to multitask, and we may be able to do many things moment to moment, one split second here, one split second there. But all the studies of the mind show we are actually only able to hold one thought at a time. And so if we focus on the thing that makes us feel most peaceful, the thing that makes us feel most grounded, most connected, whatever that may be. For instance, for me, I'm a big waterfall person. So I think of, sitting by a waterfall, and sitting by a waterfall, I feel lifted up. I feel invigorated. I feel very peaceful. Waterfalls do that for me. And if I hold that thought in my mind for 2 minutes or more, I actually start to get a feeling of peace, that same peacefulness, just like being in Maui, sitting by a waterfall. And whatever it is that we think affects the way that we feel, and the way that we feel then affects the external experience of the world. So peace can actually be something that you don't necessarily even have to cultivate or like try to hold on to, but you, let me say that a different way. You can cultivate it, but it's not something that you have to hold on to like, okay, I'm always peaceful. Instead, it's a practice of continually moving back to the peace. I can't sit by a waterfall all day long, but I can, when I'm in a place that is not peaceful, I can then imagine that waterfall and bring myself back to a state of peace. And that is one of the things, one of the tools that we are able to do in terms of that peacefulness. And then from that connected place, we can actually feel more grounded, and we can show up in the world in different ways.
What would you say to someone who, may have been in survival mode their whole life and they don't even know what peacefulness feels like? What tool would you give them from a mind perspective to even start searching for that?
The very first thing that I would do, bringing that, if the person truly, and this happens quite often, I'll say, hey, do you have the experience of this? Nope, that's never happened. I've never had the experience of peace or calm or prosperity or love or whatever the thing may be. Whenever someone does have that experience, but they say, oh, it was so long ago, we can still pull it back. But if they truly tell me they don't have the experience, what I start with is breathing. And I start with the breathing because the breathing is always the thing that's going to bring you back in a biological and a spiritual sense to a place that feels very grounded. When we breathe very deeply, we actually put more oxygen back into the bloodstream. We slow down the mind just a moment, and we feel a sense of relaxation in the body. And so when we take a look at what peace is in terms of the feeling of it, what is the visceral experience of peace? If we could start with breathing, which we all do all of the time, we are all always breathing, but our quality of breath is something that tells us how peaceful we are. Very shallow, high breathing, we tend to have a lot of anxiety, or we're nervous, or we're in a state of panic. Deep breathing that moves into the solar plexus, that moves into the lower abdomen, that moves into the belly button. Even as I do it, I feel my voice drop. I feel everything in me start to relax and become more calm. And so that's where I would start, is the thing that is most accessible to you, the thing that you cannot do without for more than a few minutes at a time. You will die if you do not have oxygen coming into the system. You can live for a while without water. You can live for a while without food, but you cannot live without breath. And so getting someone to feel what it is to experience a sense of calm, connectedness, and peace in their own breath, to me, would be the first step, and then build out from there.
I love that. I would encourage people to go slowly with breath too. If there is trauma still in the body, that sometimes can activate it on a deeper level. Dr. Peter Levine has, I think it's actually on YouTube, but a really wonderful little quick kind of breathing exercise to help get you connected to peace. Oh, I love that.
Beautiful,
Yay.
Beautiful. And now, shoot.
My question is, does peace come, in your perspective, does peace come from an internal shift or an external shift, or both?
So the easiest way to answer this is both. We can have an external experience that is causing us anxiety, fear, concern, whatever it may be. And once that thing gets worked out, of course, we feel a sense of relief. We feel a sense of peace from that. However, when we are in the moment of crises, when we are in the moment in our mind of what's going on out there in the world, what's going to come next, how do I prepare for this, how do I keep myself safe, the mind can take us. The mind is a tool. Remember that I believe the mind is a tool that brings spirit and heart together. But as a tool, if we do not watch where the mind is going, it can take us into an even deeper state of crisis. Well, what if? And if the what if is positioned in a way that things get worse and worse and worse, it is hard to experience peace. The other part of that is, even when on the external side, whatever the crisis is passes, if we've been practicing a state of anxiety, a state of non-peace in our thoughts, in our feelings, then we, even after it's passed, we still are asking, but what if it comes back? But what if something like that happens again? What if it comes back to bite me in the tail? Whatever the thing may be, like, the mind will practice it over and over and over again, which is why we have to be very careful not to give into the crisis of the mind. Sometimes we're there. Sometimes we are in the crisis. It's what happens. We are human. But the more that we can practice being in a state of peacefulness in our mind, meaning, hey, here's this thing that's going on. Can I do anything about it? If I can, let me take one step in that direction. If I can't, let me move into acceptance with it. Let me move into peace with it. Because if there's nothing that I can do, for instance, take COVID-19, in 2020, there was nothing people could do. Wash their hands, wear the mask, social distance, but no one could get rid of it. It wasn't going anywhere. So you can sit there and you can be mad at it and not peaceful with it all day long. But once you start to, one, have acceptance with it, and two, say, you know what, I'm going to just do my best with this. And I'm going to enjoy whatever life has. I'm going to enjoy the walk in the park, or I'm going to enjoy the flower that's blooming, or the phone call from a friend, whatever it may be. It is our right, our responsibility to keep moving back into a state of peace. And again, I want to be very clear here. It's not that 100% of the time we're in wow, I'm so peaceful. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's always a roller coaster. But because it's a roller coaster, you also know that there are going to be the ups and the downs. And when you can, get yourself into the most peaceful state of mind, because that's going to help you a lot more than being in a state of crisis.
I love that. So true.
So Along the lines of peace, if anyone out there has a question or a subject that you would like for us to discuss, you can always write to us at talktoarkarium@gmail.com. That's TALK, the number 2, arkariem@gmail.com. And with every episode, we always like for Karie to take us out with something beautiful and wonderful, no pressure at all, about the subject we've been discussing. So Karie, could you please take us out with some wonderful thought about peace?
I'd love to. I would invite everyone, maybe use your 2-minute trick. Set the timer on your phone for 2 minutes and just invite peace in. Even if you don't know what that looks like, invite it in and sit in it and really revel in feeling so grounded and so connected to yourself and to others.